Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you, Manon?
Good, and you?
I'm well, thank you. Oh, there I am. Okay, should be a small class tonight.
Okay.
Toby, you're dressed funny. What's going on there?
I don't know. Where am I uniform? Oh, no, it's in the wall.
You can't get your uniform washed on time. Toby, you've got to learn how to do laundry. It's your job, remember? Okay, let's get started. Sit up. Kyogen. Taekwondo. Raise your right hand and recite the tenets. Shijok. Courtesy. Integrity. Perseverance. Self-control. Indomitable spirit. And the tenets. Gesok. I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. I shall respect the instructor and seniors. I shall never misuse Taekwondo. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. I shall build a more peaceful world. Baro. Okay, rotating wrists. So, Manon, yes, I'm taking a look at you a week early. So I'll grade you tonight for your partial grade, change direction, because next week I expect I might have to ask Mr. Glenn Gall to take this class because I'll lose the grading for everyone else on Monday and Tuesday. And he usually teaches Monday at 5 o'clock out in the park. I'd have to be there at 6. So change direction. So I'll ask whether he can do Zoom for me while I go and teach in the park. And then do the grading straight afterwards. Change direction. So it's quite convenient that you thought it was tonight, Manon, because that means I don't have to think about how I'm going to grade you and then get to the park. So we'll do it all tonight. Be done. And arms back. Reach up. Really reach up. Forwards. Torso. And left ankle. I apologize though, Manon, I won't have your grading certificate if you pass tonight. I won't have it until next week. Change direction. So don't panic.
Okay.
Don't panic if you don't get it straight away. Change foot. I get them all printed together. And change direction. Toby, I can see your ceiling, but I can't see you. Oh, there you are. And hands on knees. Dump. And back.
It's hard when it's on the bed.
And circle your legs outwards. Now, even though we've only got one Zoom class each week at the moment, guys, I encourage you to do an extra training session just by doing one of the recorded classes or doing some of your own training up in your backyard, whichever the best way is for you to do it. Make sure you keep practicing. And inwards. hips. Change direction. We'll just use some basic kicks to warm your legs up. So right leg back, forearm guarding block to beat. And then from here, just half power, front snap kick, step together, and step back with the other leg. Then do the other leg. Just keep going left and right. We'll just use this to warm your legs up. Toby, you're off screen again. Although there is a big pile of blankets in front of the camera.
How do you...
Just watch your foot angle, man, and point that foot forward rather than sticking it up. Make sure it's forward rather than upward. This way. That's it. And butt up. Still in the interest of warming up, we'll just go left and right, L stance in a forearm middle block. And then the other side. While you're at it though, guys, remember your sine wave. A little spring of your knee when you change foot. Keep your wrist straight. Try and use a bit of your hip to throw power into the movement. Even though we're not going full power yet, still use your whole body. You can change to knife hand side strike now. And that crosses on top. When you cross, you just lightly clench your fists and open your knife hand right at the end. So your hands are just relaxed when you cross. Okay, and change now to walking stance movements. Let's warm the legs up a little bit more with chukyamaki. Just stepping forward, one side then the other. Toby, make sure your forearm is over your head. Aloha tangaroa. With that sine wave, spring your knees when you change. And come on. Just remember with your chukyamaki, you don't have to make it flat. Don't lift your elbow so high that your forearm's flat. Relax your shoulder so that your chukyamaki is on a slight angle, like this. So just do a couple more each side and make sure your chukyamaki is on a nice angle. Cool. And in the interest of challenging yellow belts and above, let's do Sang Pomak Maki. Left and right. Dr. S, you can just go knife and guarding block if you like. Everyone else is doing some Paul Mike Mike. And come on. Okay, grab a mouthful of water. Come on, Taekwondo, get busy. Okay. We'll work you through your patterns. We're going to start at Saju Jerigi, then do Saju Maki. Of course, they are not patterns. They are fundamental exercises. And then we'll work our way up to, Toby, have you learned Jungun yet?
Yes, sir.
You have, okay. We'll work our way up to Jungun. Okay, ready for four direction punch. Saju Jerigi. Right side. Shi, jump. And buttle. Don't rush. Stay in time with me. Nice strong stances. Other side. Stop. Buttle. Saju Maki. Right side. Jump. Bottle. Left side. Stop. Bottle. Okay, now I'm going to put Dr. S and Manon on camera. And let's have a look at Chonjito. Chonji. Tangaroa Mikaere. You guys just practice four direction punch both sides, okay? Four direction punch both sides. Everyone else doing Dangun. Chabi. Sorry, Chonji. Oh, jumping ahead. Everyone doing Chonji. Go on, Toby, focus. Shi, jump. Don't rush. Take your time. Nice and strong. Dr. S, a little longer in the stances if you can in the space. Come on, bottle. Shot. Tiffany, you got a question? You can unmute and ask.
Sir, can I please go to the bathroom very quickly?
Tiffany, yes, you can. Absolutely. Okay. Now, Danguntu. Once you get to your own pattern, so Dr. S, I'm going to give you a lot of practice of Chonji. Okay, you'll be doing it about 5 times. Mikaere and Tangaroa, you're going to do four direction punch and four direction block. This time you're doing four direction block both sides. Next time you do four direction punch both sides. Okay? Danguntu. Chuẩn. And Dr. S, repeat Chonji. Get some practice in. 시작! Nice strong stances, Toby. Remember to breathe. Come on, muddle. Okay, just a couple of small things for you, Manon. First thing, sorry, just trying to add my camera. There we go. Okay, two things for you, both really small. First thing is the timing of movements 13 and 14, 1 and 2. You were just a little bit too fast. So 1, 2. And so full sine wave between them. Okay. 1, down, up, down. Okay. So the movement from here, over here, looks like this. That's the first one. The second one is right at the end. After your last trikimaki, you cross the wrong way for your knife hand side strike. Remember, the knife hand side strike goes on top. You were fine on that side. It was the other side. Yeah, that side there. Okay, now, Manon repeat Duncan. Toby and Tiffany, no, just Toby at the moment. Dos Santo, Jubi. And S family, just continue practicing. Ready, Shijop. Dos Santo, Toby. So top your Manon. That's it. Awesome. Mikaere, don't rush. Take your time. Good, strong stances. Come on, bottle. Shot. Okay, this time our seniors are up to Wanyo. Manon and Dr. S, if you could both do Chonji again. And Mikaere and Tangaroa, you just keep doing 4-direction punch and then 4-direction block. Okay, ready. Wanyo or Chonji. Jimmy. Wanyo, Tiffany. Just in time to do Wanyo. Shi, chop. Okay, Dr. S, just try and make your stances a little bit longer and make sure your punches, your head, your hips and are straight and your shoulders straight so you're punching to the middle. Manon, and just waiting for the seniors to finish. Just be careful, Manon, with your inner forearm middle block. Just remember to cross underneath. One of them you cross the wrong way around. That's it. Good stuff. Come on, buttle. Shot. Grab a mouthful of water. Okay. So Toby, you're up to your gok. We've got 2 patterns to go, everybody. 2 patterns to go. So Dr. S, as I was just saying there, a little bit longer in your walking stances. Sometimes they're a little bit short, to make them a bit longer. Straighten your hips up and your shoulders and your punch, and make sure you're punching to the center line of your body. Okay, rather than being a little bit short this way. They want to be nice and long. Train tracks for your feet, hips and shoulders nice and square, and then punch to the middle. Okay, what are we up to, did I say? We're up to Yugok. Tiffany, repeat Wonyo. Toby, we're doing Yugok. Madden, you can do Dungun again. Ready? Shijok. Come on, bottle. Shot. Last pattern. Everyone do your own pattern. Make it the best one of the night. Junguntu. Be or your own pattern for those who are not blue belt. Shijok. Come on, bottle. And grab a drink. Okay. Now, Toby, practice your 1-step sparring alone. Tiffany, practice your 2-step sparring alone. And everyone else, practice 3-step sparring alone. Go. Show me your 3-step sparring. Punch to the middle, Tangaroa. Punch to the center of your body, not out to the side. Otherwise, you miss the opponent. Good, Manon.
What are we doing, sir?
You're doing one-step sparring. Just watch that foot angle, man. Little spring before you land there, Dr. S, with the knee. Just a little spring of your knee after you kick to get your sine wave. Shot me tangaroa. Oh, you just froze up, that was all. Come on, Mikaere. Get on with it. Just make sure your elbow's bent there, man. Bend your elbow. That's it. Fingertip at eye level. That one's inward. Number 2 is inward. That's it. Yes, you knew that. Foot angle. Point that foot forwards. That's it. Yes. And come on. Okay. Good stuff. Now, Toby and Tiffany, remember it's really important to practice your step sparring alone so that you know the sequences, and when you get to class, you can practice them well with a partner. Okay, so you're not mucking around in your practice time, get in and practice. So Manon, as I was saying, that knife hand high side block, you've got a tendency to have your arm a bit high and quite flat. So elbow down, fingertips at your eye level. So just make sure it's bent there. Looking good. And watch that foot position in the front snap kick. Now, Dr. S and Madam, we're going to work on something for everybody, but I noticed this a little bit with both of you. It's just a little bit of work on your sine wave. Dr. S, you've got a little bit stiff. Your dip's a little bit short. So I'm going to help you with how sine wave works. Madam, you're developing what we call a double sine wave. And what's happening is you're going up first and then going down, up, down. So it kind of looks like you're doing 2 sine waves. So for all of you, and Toby and Tiffany, working on your stances and sine wave is ongoing. So we'll keep working on this. So sine wave is one of the ways that we introduce the power from our entire body into our movements. If we stay flat, then we limit the power of our core to rotational movements, because all the power from your body comes from here. If you only use your arms, this is not a lot of weight. I can get its speed and acceleration, but I can't get a lot of mass when I'm only using my arm or only using my leg. So I want to try and get as much of my entire body's mass involved to develop power as I can. There's 2 ways that I can do that. One is rotationally, and the other one is vertically. And we use a little bit of both in Taekwondo. Okay, so you want to try and get your momentum going towards the opponent and explode that hip. Now, what we do to develop sine wave is as we go forward, we bend our knees so our head drops down slightly. So as you go forward, you drop down. And then you rise up as you pass your other foot. So you're almost falling into the movement when you land. So your head from here makes a curved shape from here. It goes down, up, and down, which is actually more of a cosine wave than a sine wave when you get study your maths, but that's also relevant. From here, down, up, down. Now, the way I think of it is when I'm going forward, I pull myself forward with my front leg. Because if I pull forward first, I naturally go down first. If I push myself with my back foot, the first thing that happens is I come up onto my toes, and you see my head's gone upwards. And that's not what we want. So I use this front leg to pull me forwards, and I naturally curve down, rise up, and drop down. Similarly, if I go backwards, if I push off my front foot, my head's going to go up first. So that's not what I want. I want to pull with my back leg. I bend my back leg as my hips go backwards. And then my head naturally goes down, rise up, and then drop into my movement. So everybody, just take a little bit of time, put one foot forward. I don't care which foot you put forward, and just slowly try pulling yourself forward with your front leg. Pull with your front leg and feel your torso, your hips through to your head go down a little bit as you do that. Down, up, down. Try it. So pull yourself with your front leg, let your back foot have a little bit of a rest. And you'll find just by doing that, just by pulling yourself forward, your head naturally goes down first. That's it, Dr. S. Good, Manon, that's it. Come on, Toby and Tiffany. Good, Tangaroa. Just pull this, spring with your knee. Oh, it's Mickey. So pull yourself forward with your front leg. That's it. Good. Now pause for a moment. A couple of things I want to draw to your attention. First thing is, as part of that movement, my foot's naturally going to come in towards my other foot. It naturally happens. I don't want it to come all the way in. I'm not going to come and bring it foot to foot like this, because it's just like walking knock-kneed. We don't walk like this. But it naturally comes into my center of gravity. So as I pull myself forward, this foot comes in about halfway, and then it goes out again. And that's natural, and that's what we expect. So we let that happen. The second thing that I want to draw your attention to is how the moving foot goes along the ground. We just keep the foot kind of flat, and then just let it glide just above the ground. Now, if you pull your toes back, you won't trip over them. So from here, I go down. My foot's coming in a little bit as I go down. I'm just keeping my foot flat, but lifting my toes up so that I get stuck on the ground and then drop out into my stance. So as you do that a couple more times, change legs when you're ready. So pulling yourself forward with your front leg, you'll feel your foot come in halfway, and imagine that it's only just about 1 centimeter off the floor, pulling your toes out of the way, and then you land and grip the floor when you find your stance. And when you're ready, try the same thing going backwards. Pull forward. You can see yourself in the camera, and make sure your foot's only coming in halfway. Come on, Tiffany. So you're pulling yourself forward with the front leg, pulling yourself backward with the back leg. Feel your hips and torso go a little bit down, rise up, and then drop down. When you're ready, do the other leg. Raise your hand if you're starting to feel it. Starting to feel that? Cool. Now try your 3-set sparring again, and then try and slow it down a bit, and try and feel what you're doing in the 3-set sparring. So when I go back, my other leg, my stationary leg, my left leg does the little dip, down, up, down. Then I do my punches. I'm pulling myself forward, punch. Pull myself forward. Feel that sine wave. Feel that foot movement. Don't worry about power. Just feel the movement. And then from here, down, up, down, pulling myself back. Down, up, down. Just feel how it works. And when we're on the spot, the same rule applies. Pulling with this knee. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Huh. Toby and Tiffany, just try it with 3-set sparring as well, because it's a simpler motion. Feel yourself going down, up, down, down, up, down. Pulling yourself with that knee. Down, up, down. If you've got any questions, ask, unmute and ask. Just remember to focus on the sine wave there, man. Just doing that single dip. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. You slow it down, you'll feel it. Don't rush, Tiffany. Feel how your body's moving. Toby, focus on you. Eyes forward and focus. Down, up, down. Feel your body. If you're looking around, you're thinking about what's going on around you. Feel what's happening in your body. And come on. Okay, grab yourself a drink and unmute and ask the questions that you have. Okay. Any questions, Manon?
Sir, can I please go toilet?
Yes, Toby. Sorry, Manon. No questions?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. So that sine wave is one of the things that we say is very unique about ITF Taekwondo. That method of developing power through relaxation, naturally moving the body and springing the knees, and then exploding into the movements. That's something that's quite unique about ITF Taekwondo. So it takes a long time to get used to, but once you get used to it, it feels incredibly comfortable and natural. And you'll find that that same sine wave flows through everything that we do. So when you're kicking, you kick, sine wave, and then explode into your punches. When you're free sparring, you're light on your feet, everything's moving, using your knees naturally. And just, it's all the same. And in your self-defense as well, you'll drop your body down a lot when you're doing your self-defense. Remember, I'm telling you about when someone's grabbing your hand and you drop your body weight down. That's using a sine wave. Okay, so we relax and explode. It's all through Taekwondo, so it's fundamental. We practice, and get comfortable with that. Okay, we had a drink. Right, now let's have a little look at our free sparring drills and see how we're going. Start with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Come on, Mika, Tangaroa, get back in. Half jobs. One hand up, other hand relaxed in front of you, and just lightly bouncing, just lightly, relax, switch, just lightly moving, switch, good, push forward, push backwards, switch, push forwards, push backwards, switch, sideways, sideways, and back, back, switch, sideways, sideways, back, switch, and split step, and up, split step, and up, switch, split step, up, split step, up. So remember, yeah, that's it, Dr. S, nice, good, and relax, switch. Now from here, I want you to grab your opponent. It might be a four-legged standing still opponent like this chair. And I want you just to use that footwork moving around your chair and just make sure you stay half facing to your chair. Never turning your body full on to your chair, always standing side on. Side stepping, changing your angles a little bit. Forward and backward as well. Okay, keep side on. Make sure you stay side on to your chair. Don't turn full facing. Okay, keep your guard up. Now start adding your punches in. This is when we do turn full facing to our chair, when we do our reverse punch. Remember, I've mentioned this in class. 1, I'm half facing here. But when I use my backhand, I turn full facing and punch, then come straight back. 1, 2, and back. As for your reverse punch, you'll change your body facing and then come back. Start using your punching drills. We've got switch and block, punch, split step punch, side step punch. Nice and light. Good. And come on. Okay, now we can start adding our kicking drills in. There's a lot of these drills that we've been using over the past few weeks. We've got the front leg yop chagi. We've got the yop chagi, dwi chagi. Sometimes we do yop chagi, dwi chagi, dollar chagi. We've got the step, side step, reverse hooking kick. We've got the fadeaway side kick where we start really close. Lean away side kick. And then we've got our punches. So in you get, start using those kicking drills as well as your hands. Just moving around. Maintain your body facing. This is your focus point, the chair. Make sure you extend your legs when you kick. Try to straighten your leg out. Always get in the habit of straightening your leg out when you kick. We've got downward kicks that we've been working on, vertical kicks. Set and focus on the footwork. Relax into your kicks, but focus on that body facing and the footwork. That's my side, not on your bottom, Toby. Stay on your feet, working on that footwork, body facing. You only turn full facing to your chair when you reverse punch. Then straight back into your half facing. Keep your hands up. Backhand always guarding your brain. Good. And come on. Pop your chair away and grab a drink. Okay. Dr. S, come and unmute and tell me the meaning of Chonji. Dr. S, what's the meaning of Chonji? Can you come and unmute and tell me?
Chonji is means the meeting of heaven and earth.
The heaven, the
It's
earth.
that special place in Korea, up high in the mountains, where they think that, or they believe that heaven meets the earth.
Okay, cool. So you've read the history. That's good. Awesome. The history that we tend to memorize is that Chonji means literally the heaven and the earth. And it's in the Orient interpreted as the beginning of time or the creation or the beginning of human history. So it's not so much about Lake Chonji and Baekdu Mountain in North Korea, where they think it feels like the heaven and the earth are meeting. It's more that creation myth of heaven and earth. And then it's got 19 movements separated into two similar parts, one to represent the heaven and the other the earth. So that's the stuff that we tend to recite. And then all the other stuff is background knowledge, which is good. Awesome. Okay, Manon, what are the meaning of Dangun?
The Dangun is named after the creator of Korea in the year 2033 BC.
Good. It's 2333 BC. Good. Yes. And that's tied to the meaning of Chonji, because that Lake Chonji, which is in the caldera, the volcanic lake at the top of Baekdu Mountain at the very north of Korea, that is where Dangun is said to have been born. So, yes, so absolutely right. It's named after the holy Dangun, the legendary founder of Korea in the year 2333 BC. And we've been through the legend of the tiger and the bear and going into the cave and all that sort of stuff. So it's cool to know that stuff as well. Okay, Tiffany, what's the meaning of Wanyo?
The meaning of Wanyo.
Oh, you might have to mute your computer and go and use Toby's.
I'm not telling you.
Stop! The meaning of Wanyo is the monks who introduced Buddhism to the Silla dynasty.
Yes, excellent. In what year?
In the year 686 BC.
No, AD. Or
AD.
Or CE, as we say now. Yes, 686 Common Era. That's absolutely right. And actually, in the history, that's the year that Wanyo died. He spent a lot of his time introducing Buddhism to the Silla dynasty in Korea, and he died in the year 686 AD. But the pattern history is exactly as you said it. That's right. Excellent. So yes, 686 AD or 686 CE. Excellent. Toby, come and tell us your knowledge. What's the meaning of Jungun?
Sir, I'm sorry, I have utterly no idea.
Oh, wow. Homework for you to do. Oh, dear. Doesn't know his pattern history. Okay, so as you... Yes, Toby.
Is he a patriot who just... Oh, no, sorry. Never mind.
He was a patriot, yes.
And he was... he was executed sometime in 1930.
1910.
1910.
In a place called Lushun Prison. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know why he was executed?
Because of, I think it was something about assassination.
Well, pretty good. You got a reasonable amount. Yes, he assassinated a man named Hirobumi Ito, who was the first Japanese Governor General of Korea, and a man known to play a leading part in a merger of Korea and Japan, which was not good for the Korean people. So Hirobumi Ito assassinated him. Cool. Okay. Now, as you know, all of the patterns, we've got 24 patterns in Taekwondo, and they're all based on a famous person or a famous event in Korean history. So this is a way that ITF Taekwondo is used to share the culture of Korea through the world, which is kind of cool. So 24 patterns, they bounce around a bit. The first one, Chonji, is the creation. The last one, Tongil, which is the 24th pattern, that's around the concept of unifying Korea, which has been divided since 1955. It's Tongil is about the unification. And so between there's a whole lot of things that happen. And so you've got Dangun, which is about the founder of Korea, and then Dosan, it jumps into the 20th century. Then Wonyo jumps back to the 7th century, and the pattern meanings kind of jump around a bit around there. Quite often the number of movements have a meaning in the pattern. Sometimes particular movements in the pattern have a meaning, or the way that the pattern is put together. Often the diagram, the shape that you make with your feet, that often has a meaning. In Chonji, it's just a simple plus shape. And in many of the colored belt patterns, it's a capital I shape. But you start getting into things like Yilgok and Tage, which are the pattern for blue stripes and for red stripes. And their pattern diagram is the Chinese character for scholar. And both of those two were great philosophers. So quite often there's all sorts of parts in the pattern that have some sort of meaning. Okay, that's enough pattern histories. Make sure you're learning those and Google them and read up about them, because there's some really interesting history on those. There's also some really cool books available. There's 3 books that I know of that are focused on pattern histories for Taekwondo. The first one that I became aware of was written in the 80s, I think, by a person now a grandmaster named Richard Mitchell. And he has a few pages on each of the patterns from Chonji through to Chungmu. So all of the colored belt patterns he does the history of. But 2 other books, one written by a man from Argentina named Luciano Iriarte. He's written a book From Here to Eternity that has pattern meanings for all 24 patterns. And then there's a book by a man named Stuart Onslow, who's from Great Britain. He wrote a book From Creation to Unification. Chonji being creation, unification being Tonghil, and having all the pattern histories in that one as well. So there's some really good reading material available now. Okay, let us change my angle of my screen. Sit down, left leg out, right leg over the top, and hold that stretch. Come on, Toby. While we're stretching, some other really important theory for you. There is an element of physical Taekwondo. There's a circular diagram called the composition of Taekwondo. And it tells you that the physical side of Taekwondo has 5 aspects to it, and they work in a circular fashion. The first aspect is fundamental movements, which is what we started out with tonight, right? Just doing basic movements, stances, kicks, those sorts of things. So doing individual movements or doing groups of movements are called fundamental movements. Once you've learned a group of fundamental movements, we then have the pattern at each grade. So putting some of those fundamental movements together against an imaginary opponent or imaginary opponents, often considered to be the art side of a martial art, is performance of patterns. So you're kind of getting the understanding of how these movements work, how they fit together, imagining what you're using them for. And change legs. The third aspect is sparring, and there are many forms of sparring. You've got the pre-arranged sparring, where you know what your opponent's going to do, such as your 3-step sparring, 2-step sparring, and 1-step sparring. And then we have free sparring. So free sparring is not pre-arranging the movements with your partner. And in sparring, whether it's pre-arranged or semi-free or free, that's about exploring the use of Taekwondo movements with a real moving opponent. So you're kind of getting a feel for what your distance, your timing is, how everything works. Once you've got that kind of basic feel of using the movements with a real opponent, then the next phase of the Taekwondo composition is what's called daeyeon, or maintaining your equipment. This is around not just maintaining your things like the sparring gear and your other physical equipment, but it's about maintaining your body. So it's about building strength and fitness. And as you get older into adulthood, it's about conditioning your tools. So doing the things like we do push-ups on our knuckles or just a little knocking like this, that sort of stuff actually builds up the density in your bones. It's been scientifically proven that martial artists' bones can be more dense than a non-martial artist's bones because the little holes in the bones get smaller. And so the conditioning builds up the strength in your tools. And then once you've got the 4th element, the 5th element is self-defense. You put all of those things together and you can defend yourself using your Taekwondo techniques. Both legs out, stretch up nice and tall, and move forward, lean forward. So at each grade, we learn the fundamental movements first, then learn the pattern. Then we have some sparring that we do. We're conditioning all the way through with our fitness and our body. and then moving around into your self-defense stuff. So that's kind of how everything ties together. Then you get the next grade and you go through the cycle again, and you keep building up your skill as you get through the grades. Now that point about knocking, so the conditioning like this, where you're hitting your knuckles, for example, on something on the ball of your foot, we don't do that as children. We don't do that until you reach about 16 years old, because at that point, your bones have finished growing. Okay, so while your bones are still developing, this is unhealthy. It's not a good thing for you to do. You can damage your bones and damage your growth. So we wait until we're adults before we do this kind of conditioning. But there's a lot of conditioning that you can do as children. The sorts of things that we do, like squats and jumping and push-ups, those sorts of things, as long as we're doing the right technique, you're building up your muscles, they're really, really good for you. You just have to do it sensibly. Not rubbish push-ups with saggy backs, eh, Toby? Proper push-ups. Yeah. And legs in. Good work tonight, Manon. You're progressing very well.
Thank you, sir.
You're doing very well. But excuse me that it might take you a couple of weeks to get you a certificate. So Dr. S, remember that your grading is next week. I've had a few emails from parents saying, oh, I was grading tonight. No. Tonight's the 6th. Grading's on the 13th. Okay, and turn sideways, lie down on your back, put your feet in the air, and open your legs up. And gently bring your legs in. Standing up. Left leg behind. And change legs. and shot. Turn to the left and tidy up. Okay, so next Monday will be our last Zoom class for the year because we've got Christmas coming up so quickly. And then, of course, next year we'll start again with our regular classes. So keep your eye out on the website. So Zoom class is at this time, 5 o'clock next Monday. And then we've got the classes in the park Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will be our last session in the park for the year. That's Thursday the 16th. Of course, we do have training this Saturday, the 11th. So we've got Saturday right through next week to Thursday. That'll be our last session before Christmas. And then we'll start again around the middle of January. We'll do a few weeks in the park in January, and then we'll be back into the venues. Hopefully, if the schools let us back in, depending on our protection framework level. So I'll get in touch with the schools and find out what their requirements are. Good news about training in person.
Sorry, Sue, did you say the exam's on Monday, isn't it? The grading's on Monday?
Next Monday, yes. Yeah, so it's separate for different grades. Sorry, Dr. Reese, I didn't mean to confuse you. So white belts and yellow stripes are on Monday, and then yellow belts and above are on Tuesday. So yes, your grading is on Monday.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. And then I'll get in touch with the schools and find out what we're doing about getting back into the venues. And so hopefully around when school begins next year, we'll be back into the venues. So we'll do a couple of weeks in the park before then. But in any case, I'll look forward to seeing you all for at least one more class, many of you 2 or 3 more classes, and then have a great Christmas and stuff. Thanks, guys. Come here. Huzzah. See you next class. Remember, if you're not able to train in the park, we have got all the recorded classes on our website. So do some extra classes on recorded or pop outside and do your own training. Thanks, guys. See you next week. We'll see you later in the week, Dr. S and family.
Bye, sir.